This unhealthy white crystal seasoning strengthens muscles, what doctors won't say about fall risk. Did you know that the white crystal you've been told to avoid might actually be keeping your muscles strong? Imagine this. James, 72, was told by his doctor to cut all salt from his diet. 6 months later, he started falling regularly. His muscles felt weak. Getting up from a chair became a struggle. What his doctor never mentioned is that older adults who eliminate salt completely often experience dangerous muscle weakness. In fact, studies show that low sodium levels are linked to decreased muscle contraction, balance problems, and increased fall risk in seniors. But before you reach for the salt shaker, there's a critical balance you need to understand. Too much salt is harmful, but too little? That could be just as dangerous for your strength and stability. Today I'm exposing the truth about salt that could keep you standing strong well into your 90s. Welcome to Life Advice for Older People, where we uncover hidden truths that can transform your golden years. I'm your host, and today we're tackling a controversial topic that most healthcare providers won't discuss: the relationship between salt, muscle strength, and fall risk. Meet James. After retiring as a construction foreman at 70, he followed his doctor's advice to eliminate salt completely due to slightly elevated blood pressure. "I was so careful," James says. "I threw away my salt shaker and avoided all processed foods, but 6 months later he noticed something alarming. He could barely get out of his favorite armchair without help." When James started experiencing repeated falls, his daughter took him to a specialized geriatric clinic where they discovered his sodium levels were dangerously low, a condition called hyponatremia that affects up to 20% of older adults, especially those in hospital settings or care facilities. What his regular doctor missed was the crucial balance. While excessive salt intake can raise blood pressure, insufficient sodium can severely impact muscle function, nerve transmission, and balance, all critical factors in preventing falls. Today I'll reveal the shocking science behind sodium and muscle strength, how to determine your optimal salt intake, the 3-step method to balance heart health with muscle function, and simple signs you might be getting too little salt. Before we dive deeper, if you're concerned about fall risks or muscle weakness in yourself or a loved one, hit that subscribe button and notification bell. Our channel delivers life-changing health insights specifically for older adults every week. Now, let's discover why this vilified white crystal might be your muscle's best friend. What doctors often don't explain is how your muscles actually work. Every muscle contraction in your body, from blinking your eyes to standing up from a chair, depends on a precise electrical signal. And guess what mineral is absolutely essential for conducting those electrical signals? Sodium. Research from the Guangzhou Biobank cohort study found that sodium is crucial for nerve impulse generation, which triggers muscle contraction. James experienced this firsthand. "My legs felt like they weren't getting the message from my brain. I'd try to stand and they'd just give out." What's fascinating is that older adults are particularly vulnerable to this muscle weakness effect. As we age, our bodies actually accumulate more sodium in skeletal muscles than younger people, suggesting our muscles may require more sodium to function optimally as we get older. Think of sodium as the spark plugs in your car's engine. Without that spark, the engine, your muscles, won't fire properly, no matter how much food you give it. Here's where it gets tricky. Studies show both excessive and insufficient sodium can harm your health. The Korean National Health and Nutrition Examination Survey found that older women with very high sodium density in their diet had 51% higher odds of low grip strength, a key indicator of overall muscle function. But the opposite is also true. Research shows that sodium restriction adversely affects the renin-angiotensin-aldosterone system and increases muscle sympathetic nerve traffic, potentially weakening muscle response. The sweet spot? Most research suggests 1,500 to 2,300 milligrams of sodium daily for healthy older adults, about 3/4 to 1 teaspoon of salt from all food sources combined. This is enough to maintain proper muscle function without raising blood pressure excessively. James worked with his new doctor to find his personal balance. We settled on moderate salt intake and regular monitoring. Within weeks, my strength started coming back. Have you been told to eliminate salt completely? Let me know in the comments. You might be missing crucial information about your specific needs. Most people don't realize they're experiencing sodium-related muscle issues until they're severe. Here are early warning signs most doctors never mention. 1. Subtle balance issues, especially when turning quickly. 2. Unexpected muscle cramps, particularly in the legs. 3. Feeling unusually fatigued after light physical activity. 4. Difficulty rising from seated positions without using arms. 5. Mild confusion or brain fog, especially in the afternoon. James had experienced 4 of these symptoms, but dismissed them as just getting older. They weren't. They were correctable issues related to his sodium levels. What's truly concerning is that these symptoms often get misdiagnosed as general aging decline, when they could be addressed with simple dietary adjustments. Is it possible you've been experiencing these symptoms without realizing the potential sodium connection? Think about it. And we'll be right back with the practical solutions after this short break. What makes the sodium equation so complex is that everyone's needs are different. Factors like your age, activity level, medications, and underlying health conditions all affect how much sodium your body requires. When James first visited his specialized geriatric clinic, they conducted what's called a comprehensive metabolic panel, a blood test that measures sodium and other electrolytes. His results showed sodium levels of 131 mcl, below the normal range of 135 to 145 mcl. The doctor explained that my low-salt diet, combined with a diuretic medication for my blood pressure, had created a perfect storm for sodium depletion, James recalls. This personalized approach is crucial. Research from the Journal of Cachexia, Sarcopenia, and Muscle demonstrates that optimal sodium levels vary considerably between individuals, especially in older adults. If you're taking any medication, particularly diuretics, water pills, heart medications, or certain antidepressants, your sodium needs may be significantly different. Always discuss electrolyte monitoring with your healthcare provider. Does your doctor regularly check your sodium levels? If not, you might want to ask about it at your next appointment. James and his doctor developed a 3-step protocol to restore his strength while protecting his heart health. Step 1. Measuring baseline sodium levels through blood work and tracking symptoms. Step 2. Gradual sodium reintroduction through whole foods rather than table salt. Step 3. Regular strength testing using simple at-home exercises to monitor improvement. This methodical approach allowed James to increase his sodium intake safely while monitoring for any negative effects on his blood pressure. We focused on sodium-containing foods that also had potassium, like beets and celery, which help balance the effects, James explains. Within 3 weeks, I could stand up without pushing off the chair arms. Have you tried incorporating more natural sodium sources into your diet? Tell us what's worked for you in the comments section. The key to healthy sodium balance isn't found in extreme elimination or unlimited salt use. It's in practical, sustainable daily habits. 1. The morning broth ritual. James began each day with a cup of homemade vegetable broth, providing natural sodium along with potassium and other minerals. 2. The taste training technique. Instead of salting food after cooking, James learned to incorporate small amounts during preparation, which actually reduced his overall intake while satisfying taste preferences. 3. The 80-20th whole food rule. By ensuring 80% of his diet came from unprocessed foods, James could allow for some convenience items without excessive sodium. 4. The hydration balance. Proper water intake helps maintain sodium balance. Too little or too much water can disrupt electrolytes. 5. The post-exercise replenishment. After physical activity, especially in warm weather, appropriate sodium replacement helps prevent muscle weakness. What's fascinating is that these simple adjustments not only improved James's muscle strength, but also enhanced his energy levels and cognitive clarity. My daughter noticed the difference before I did. James smiles. She said I was back to my old self, telling my terrible jokes again and keeping up with my grandkids. But there's one critical mistake many people make when trying to optimize their sodium intake, and I'll reveal that right after we hear about James's remarkable transformation. There's a concerning disconnect in how the medical establishment approaches sodium for older adults. Most physicians receive minimal nutrition training, just 19 hours on average throughout medical school, and tend to follow general guidelines without considering age-specific needs. The Guangzhou Biobank cohort study found that older people have higher amounts of sodium accumulation in skeletal muscles than younger people, suggesting different sodium requirements as we age. Yet most doctors apply the same sodium restrictions to everyone. James's primary doctor was following standard protocol for hypertension management, but wasn't aware of the emerging research on sodium's role in maintaining muscle function, specifically in older adults. My regular doctor meant well, James says, but he was only looking at one piece of the puzzle, my blood pressure, not my overall function and quality of life. This knowledge gap creates a significant blind spot in geriatric care. When doctors focus exclusively on cardiovascular risks without considering fall risk factors like muscle strength and balance, they may inadvertently increase overall health risks for older adults. Has your doctor ever discussed how sodium affects your muscle function? Let us know in the comments. This information could help others in our community. What's rarely discussed is the growing prevalence of hyponatremia, or low blood sodium, among older adults. Harvard's nutrition source indicates this condition occurs mainly in older adults, particularly those living in long-term care facilities or hospitals who take medications or have health conditions that deplete the body of sodium. Symptoms include muscle weakness, confusion, fatigue, and increased fall risk. Exactly what James experienced. Yet many healthcare providers fail to recognize these as potential sodium-related issues. More concerning, research from the Mayo Clinic shows that severe hyponatremia can lead to seizures, coma, and even death if left untreated. This isn't meant to frighten you, but to emphasize how important proper sodium balance truly is. James was fortunate that his daughter advocated for comprehensive testing. The geriatric specialist immediately ordered electrolyte panels when I described his symptoms. He said sodium imbalance was one of the first things they check for with unexplained weakness in older patients. If you or a loved one is experiencing unexplained weakness, confusion, or balance issues, ask your doctor specifically about sodium levels. This simple blood test could reveal a readily correctable issue. The challenge for older adults is finding the sweet spot between cardiovascular protection and maintaining muscle function. Research from the Korean National Health and Nutrition Examination Survey concluded that a balanced diet of minerals is important to preserve muscle strength among older adults. The key word here is balanced. Extreme sodium restriction may lower blood pressure slightly, but at the cost of decreased muscle strength, increased fall risk, and reduced independence. Modern research suggests a more nuanced approach. Monitor both blood pressure and functional strength. Consider sodium to potassium ratio rather than sodium alone. Adjust recommendations based on individual response. Recognize that optimal ranges may change with age. James's new medical team implemented this balanced approach. We check my blood pressure and my grip strength at every visit now. They're equally important indicators of my health. 6 months after implementing his personalized sodium balancing protocol, James's transformation was remarkable. His sodium levels stabilized within normal range, his grip strength improved by 27%, and most importantly, he hasn't experienced a single fall in the past 4 months. I can play with my grandchildren again without fear of falling, James says, his eyes bright with emotion. I can get up from my chair without struggling. It sounds simple, but these things mean independence to me. What's particularly striking about James's story is how a relatively straightforward nutritional adjustment made such a profound difference in his quality of life. His blood pressure remained stable while his functional capacity dramatically improved. The geriatric specialist who helped James explains, "For older adults, we have to consider the total health picture. Preventing falls through maintained muscle strength can be just as important as blood pressure management in terms of overall health outcomes and longevity." James now shares his experience with friends at his retirement community. Several of them had the same tests done and discovered they were low in sodium too. One friend had been falling regularly and thought it was just age. After adjusting his diet, he's steady as a rock now. This isn't about ignoring heart health or encouraging excessive salt consumption. It's about recognizing that health recommendations need to evolve as our bodies change with age. It's about finding the right balance for your unique situation. James sums it up perfectly. "I thought I was doing everything right by eliminating salt completely. Now I know better. It's not about good or bad foods. It's about the right amount for my body at this stage of life." If James's story resonated with you, you're not alone. Countless older adults are navigating the complex balance between different health recommendations, often without all the information they need. Take these 3 actions today. 1. If you're experiencing unexplained weakness or balance issues, ask your doctor specifically about sodium levels 1. Share this video with someone who might benefit from this often overlooked information. 1. Subscribe to our channel for more evidence-based health insights specifically for older adults. Remember, your best years can still be ahead of you when you have the right information. Protecting your independence through optimal strength is just as important as any other health measure. Hit that like button if you learned something new today, and leave a comment with your own experience or questions.